with all of that, before we talk about Monday Night Raw, some news came out this evening about the potential AEW Warner Brothers Discovery TV deal. Now, I don't have all the information here because it did come out from Puck News, which is a subscription-based newsletter. Now, the article that this comes from, I want to say is an article, and it's written by, I'm going to get the right name here, John Orand. There's a lot of connections within TV and sports and stuff. And I believe the article and the big talk here is about Warner Brothers Discovery, TV deals, and all that kind of stuff. But there are some stuff that he does talk about pertaining to the AEW deal. And this is bullet pointed out from WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston. So I do want to give Brandon Thurston some credit here as well, because he did go through the Puck article and take out the key points, as Thurston does tweet, quote, John Orand at Puck reports AEW's new media deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, quote, looks like, end quote, it will be a 4-year deal. 3 years guaranteed, and with a 1-year option. Orand says $170 million per year, quote, is apparently in the ballpark. He says AEW will air on TNT, TBS, and True TV twice per week as part of a strategy to make True TV more sports oriented. Now, going off on a little thing here, when it comes to them wanting more sports on True TV, we're already seeing that with the TNT Sports NASCAR deal. Now, NASCAR will run, I want to say, 6 races next summer on TNT Sport for the next, I want to say, 5 years. But NASCAR and TNT Sport have already started their relationship, as 2 weeks ago, they started a studio show called Inside NASCAR, where they bring in different NASCAR reporters, different NASCARs, and insiders talk about that week in NASCAR. It airs on Thursdays on True TV. Basically, they want more sports in primetime on True TV. Thurston continues by writing, quote, the announcement of the deal, quote, could come as soon as next week, barring any last-minute changes. Now, here's where things get interesting. He says AEW is pitching an additional package to broadcast networks. We'll come back to that in a second. The report at one point refers to AEW as, quote, second-tier wrestling, though Orand writes that the deal, quote, marks a clear success for AEW. A couple of things to break down here. AEW is pitching an additional package to broadcast networks. When we heard the news that AEW could be talking to Fox, we thought there's no way they're going to go on regular Fox. It's going to be an FS1 or a Tubi deal. But this stating that they're pitching to broadcast networks means that they may have potentially talked to more than just Fox. Who could that be? We know it's not NBC because they're in bed with WWE. We know it's not CW because they're in bed with WWE. So it's got to be Fox, CBS, or ABC. But could it be ABC? While ABC, which is owned by Disney, which also owns ESPN, is in bed with UFC, which is under the same company of WWE. So if I do some deductive reasoning here, looks like Fox could be getting an AEW program. Maybe CBS. There is still that slight possibility of ABC, but we don't really know that per se. Fox, again, is the one that the news did come out recently. Now, here's the other thing to look at. Think if they get the Fox deal. That's one show. Then this says they will be on TNT, TBS, and True TV twice a week. Are we about to get 5 weekly AEW shows? 5 AEW shows a week? Luke, what do you take of all this new news that broke tonight? Now, before anything, I want to just preface, this has not been announced by either AEW or Warner Brothers Discovery. This was put out there by John Orand of Puck, who I have seen in the past report accurate things on sports TV deals, but go for it.
This is a lot of information to take in.
Yeah.
But 5 AEW shows a week. Jesus Christ.
Now, some other things, I don't know if, so just to give more context really quickly, the current deal that AEW has with Warner Brothers Discovery is a, quote, exclusive deal, which doesn't end till the end of the year. So even if they do sign a deal with Fox per se, that can't start till January anyway. So just keep that in mind as well, because they're still currently under an exclusive deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. What do you think of potentially 5 AEW shows a week? What would that look like?
Could you imagine like the mixed ratings on those shows?
Well, it all really depends on the days. We know Dynamite's not going to move off of Wednesday. That's the one solid, ain't going nowhere. But then it's like, okay, so this TBS, I assume, keeps Dynamite. TNT on Saturdays keeps Collision, I guess. And then what, Rampage and something else goes to True TV? Is what I would think. And now I don't know the full details on this NASCAR studio show that they have on True TV on Thursdays. I don't know if it's just during the season or if it's going to be all year long. But again, that airs on Thursdays on True TV. So does that rule out a Thursday night show for AEW on True TV? So then they've got what? They're not going to run head to head with Raw on Monday unless they throw something up late at 11. I don't know. Like they do, if they do like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Rampage style thing where they put it on after WWE. But we do have someone in the chat. Jennifer Williams says, forget about the ratings. You're going to see a lot of empty seats. And Melvin says, what about AEW pay-per-views on Max? We don't know about that. This is all the news that came out in the Puck article about the TV portion of the deal. That's all we know right now. It is expected that pay-per-views could go to Max and maybe even, according to Andrew Zarian, do a simulcast. But the news we got here from John Orand, all we know right now is TV stuff. We hadn't heard anything from streaming. But, yeah. 5 potential AEW shows. And then the interesting thing here, too, also, the report at one point refers to AEW as, quote, second-tier wrestling. Which,
what does that even mean?
It means they ain't close to number one. It means WWE is number one and they are number two. Which Dave Meltzer. So here's the thing. Everybody always says Dave Meltzer will never talk bad about AEW. Dave Meltzer thinks AEW is the best. Dave loves AEW. Do you guys even listen to Dave's podcast? Last Friday night, Dave Meltzer did his Wrestling Observer Radio with his co-host Garrett Gonzalez and literally said AEW is a distant number 2 and cannot even come close to what WWE is doing right now. The man that everybody says will never talk down about AEW, the man that everybody says thinks AEW is better than WWE, literally said they can't do the ratings WWE does. They can't sell the tickets WWE does. And they are a, quote, in his words, distant number 2 with no growth in sight right now. Let me see if I can find the quote that Dave actually said. Give me a second. Because everybody's always like, Dave loves AEW. Dave thinks AEW is the best. Well, Dave ain't always talking glowing about AEW. If you actually listen to Dave's shows, he will tell you AEW's got problems and they're big. So Dave,
I know at one point.
Yeah, go for it.
I would say at one point, AEW was doing a lot better than WWE. I'd say like once they brought in like Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, that's when a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, AEW is doing a lot better than WWE right now.
So they were never beating Raw and SmackDown in ratings. That's the thing. They were doing great. Attendance was up. But yeah, so what Dave said was he said AEW will be and will continue to be a very distant number 2 to WWE. Quote, there are no signs of a turnaround, and states that they paid a lot of money to bring in 3 big wrestlers earlier this year. Will Ospreay has been somewhat of a success. Okada was never going to be a TV draw in America because, well, not many of the casual fans in America know him. Then he says, Mercedes, well, she's been a big disappointment as far as she does not draw for AEW. Again, that all comes from Dave Meltzer, who you guys cry and whine about saying that he's biased towards AEW. So take that in. But we'll see. According to this John Ourand article, the announcement could come next week with the AEW and WBD. So we'll have to wait around and see exactly what does get announced. Do you have any other closing thoughts on this before we talk Raw?
I think that's about it.
Also, 170 million. That's huge. Because I saw some people predicting that if they can get in the range of 125, that would be good and successful. But if they're getting way more than 125, I think right now they're getting, what is it, 90 million a year? I could be wrong on that. Correct me in the comments or the chat. But like I saw, I think it was Brandon Thurston, John Pollock, Jimmy Van from Fightful, and Dave Meltzer, maybe Brian Alvarez as well. We're all saying, 125 is what they need to be successful with this new TV deal. If they're getting 170, oh boy, that's really good for them. So we'll let it all play out and see where it goes. But that is the latest news pertaining to the upcoming potential AEW Warner Brothers Discovery TV deal. Maybe even more as they're pitching to broadcast networks. Just think about this. What if AEW gets a show on Fox? What would you think of that one?
It would be funny. It would remind me of like when TNA went to Spike after WWE left Spike.
So what I heard reported was that Fox would be interested in AEW because they would get it at such a cheaper price than they were paying WWE. The issue with WWE is they didn't want to lose wrestling, but the amount of money they were paying, say they were paying WWE up here, the advertising money they were bringing in was down here. It was not even. But with AEW, they're going to want to pay them here, maybe hoping that the ad revenue is more, if that makes sense. So, but at the same time, if Fox goes out and says, hey, you want to put ads on an AEW show, is that going to appeal to advertisers the same way of you want to put ads on a WWE show? So we'll just see. Also, if they go to Fox, at least in the fall, they ain't going to be on Fridays. It's not going to be a Friday night show because Fox is now doing college football on Fridays. I'm just trying in my head to figure out what day of the week could they be on Fox. They wouldn't want to go against SmackDown head to head, but at the same time, also Fox is going to have college football. So I don't know. It's crazy, and it's hopefully this news and official announcement is coming soon.